Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a really important topic: complex childhood trauma. You know those moments when something from your past seems to pop up out of nowhere, affecting how you think, feel, or even react? That's what we're unpacking today. If you've ever felt like your past has a grip on your present, you're definitely not alone. We're going to explore what complex childhood trauma is, how it shows up in our lives, and most importantly, how healing is not just possible, it's within reach. So, what exactly is complex trauma? Unlike a single isolated event, complex trauma comes from repeated, ongoing experiences, especially in childhood. Imagine growing up in a place where things were always unpredictable, where safety felt like a rare commodity, or love came with strings attached. When you're a child, that kind of environment shapes everything: how you see yourself, how you trust others, and even how your brain and body deal with stress. One thing I find fascinating and kind of heartbreaking is how deeply trauma gets wired into us. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk talks about this in The Body Keeps the Score. He explains that trauma isn't just in our heads, it lives in our bodies. It changes the way we think, the way we feel, and even the way we physically react to the world. So, if you've ever felt like your body is holding on to something long after your mind has tried to let it go, there's a reason for that. So, let's talk about some of the different forms of trauma kids can experience. Emotional abuse, for instance, isn't always about shouting or obvious hostility. Sometimes it's subtle: constant criticism, rejection, or a lack of emotional warmth. A child who grows up in that environment might always be on edge, feeling like they're walking on eggshells. They might grow up thinking they're never good enough, no matter how hard they try. Then there's physical abuse. Beyond the immediate fear and pain, it creates this deep, ingrained sense that the world isn't safe. Even when the abuse stops, that feeling can linger. It's like the body never fully relaxes, always waiting for the next blow, whether it's literal or emotional. Sexual abuse is another form, and it carries its own unique weight. It's not just about the act itself, but about the betrayal of trust. When the person who's supposed to protect you becomes the source of your pain, it messes with your sense of safety and boundaries in ways that can take years, even decades, to untangle. And let's not forget about neglect. It's not just the absence of physical care, it's the absence of emotional connection. Growing up without that sense of being seen and valued teaches a child that their needs don't matter. As adults, they might find it incredibly hard to trust or even recognize what they need from others. Now, trauma doesn't just sit quietly in the past. It shows up in so many ways in the present. Ever find yourself swinging between emotional numbness and overwhelming feelings of anger, sadness, or fear? That's emotional dysregulation. Or maybe you're always on high alert, scanning your environment for danger, even when there's no real threat. That's hypervigilance, and it's exhausting. And of course, trauma can wreak havoc on relationships. It's tough to trust when your early experiences taught you that trust isn't safe. Some people might avoid closeness altogether, while others cling tightly, terrified of being left. So, how do we begin to heal from all this? There are several paths, and what works for one person might not work for another, but there are some approaches that have been incredibly effective for many. One of those is EMDR, or eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a therapy that helps people reprocess traumatic memories so they're not as emotionally charged. You think about the trauma while doing something like following a light or a therapist's finger, moving side to side. It sounds simple, but it's powerful. It helps your brain file that painful memory in a way that doesn't overwhelm you every time it comes up. Another approach is Somatic Experiencing, which focuses on the body. Since trauma lives in our physical selves as much as in our minds, this therapy helps release the tension and trauma stored there. It's about reconnecting with your body and learning to feel safe in it again. Mindfulness is another tool. It teaches us to stay present, to observe our thoughts and feelings without being swept away by them. Instead of reacting impulsively, we create a little space between our emotions and our actions. This helps build emotional resilience, giving us more control over how we respond to life's challenges. And then, there are the small daily practices that, over time, can make a huge difference. Journaling is one. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you process what's going on inside. It's a way to externalize the chaos, to make sense of it. Grounding exercises are another. These are simple techniques that help bring you back to the present moment, like focusing on what you can see, hear, or feel right now. And let's not underestimate the power of finding joy. Whether it's through a hobby, time in nature, or connecting with loved ones, those little moments of happiness help counterbalance the weight of trauma. Healing is a journey. It's about learning to live with your past in a way that doesn't control your present. And while the road can be long and challenging, every small step you take is a step toward reclaiming your life. Thanks for tuning in today. If this conversation resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to Cognitive Curves for more insights. Remember, you don't have to navigate this alone. Healing is possible and support is out there.